Hello. In explaining evolution, we do not have one iota of fact by Dr. T. N. Tomasian from creationism.org. For this PowerPoint, I use the following sources: creationism.org, Institute for Creation Research, Expelled No Intelligence Allowed, which is a movie, faithinthelaw.org, Institute for Creation Research again, the Huffington Post, an article from New York Times, Merriam-Webster Dictionary, creation.com, and the Intelligent Design and Evolution Awareness Center. And finally, a quote from Brainy Quote. Teaching Creationism. My name is Brandon Clark, and I'll be refuting the ideas that evolution is fact, that teaching creationism indoctrinates students, and the separation of church and state mandates that creationism be left out of curriculum. These three arguments sum up a majority of the opposition to teaching creationism. The first one is evolution is true. Evolution, which is defined by the Merriam-Webster, or by Institute for Creation Research, basically as the idea that species evolved over eons of time, that they took form of certain adaptations, and that the species eventually diverged and changed, isn't fact. And Richard Dawkins, who's a leading atheist, can't prove where life came from through evolution. From the movie Expelled No Intelligence Allowed, he was asked by Ben Stein where he believed that life came from, and he was not able to give an answer. He basically said that he didn't know and no one else did. And because of this, we can't use that to define it as fact, because it is nowhere near complete. Also, if evolution is taught as fact, that allows for the absence of moral law. From Faith in the Law, basically they state that because people have no reason to protect other people, that they're only watching out for themselves, that people can do whatever they need to survive, and that could mean many things, and that they can get away with anything and everything. Also, creationism is founded in more truth. For example, the fossil record, it was usually used to prove evolution, but there are too many fossils missing of missing species that would have had to be there for evolution to have actually happened. Richard Dawkins himself said that there should have been way more fossils to prove his points, and that comes from the Institute for Creation Research. With atheists believing that evolution is fact, they consider teaching creationism as unfair. Students need a fair education in which multiple views are shown. This is a democracy, so it's imperative that the population be educated so that they can make votes on policies and things like that. And if they're only being shown one view, it's hard for them to make an impartial decision. And also, 40% of the population are old Earth creationists, so that's a large portion of the population, whereas atheists make up only 16%. So obviously, evolution is viewed as truth by a very small portion of the population compared to how many people believe that creation happened. And I got that from the Huffington Post. And the students will have a chance to learn ethics if creation is taught, whereas if they're only taught evolution, once again, there will be no moral law. And finally, from the New York Times, nearly 2/3 of Americans say that creationism should be taught alongside evolution in public schools. And that's an obvious majority, and being a democracy, if a majority of the population believes something, it should become policy. But being outnumbered, the atheists have tried to squeeze constitutionality out of teaching evolution exclusively. And that's through the Establishment Clause of the Constitution. And basically what it's saying is constitutionality should be upheld, and that part of constitutionality is the separation of church and state. which basically says that it's the idea that the government can't choose a religion over others, and the separation of church and state must be applied for a successful democracy to survive. But the problem is evolution can be defined as a religion pretty easily by the Merriam-Webster dictionary. Its definition for religion is basically a belief that is followed by ardor and faith. And Michael Ruse, which is a leading atheist, actually states himself that atheism and believing in evolution is a religion in itself. That's basically proven because they follow that belief adamantly. There are steps of faith there because evolution is incomplete. And the Lemon test, which was defined by a court case, Lemon versus Kurtzman, stated that to be taught in schools, religions must be taught with a secular purpose, and because of that, both views must be taught, otherwise the government will be favoring one religion over another. And that's from the ideacenter.org. And in closing, evolution is an opinion, essentially, and the teaching only evolution is an example of indoctrination. And finally, teaching creationism upholds the separation of church and state. Education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make a man more clever than the devil, by C.S. Lewis. I got that quote from Brainy Quote. Thank you.